Are you guys all ready? If this doesn't buckle, does that mean it won't zip? Is it gonna work? Is it gonna work? I'm coming, you guys. I'm the speaker. So I hope you will use WPPI as a space for you to hone in these relationships and use it as a space of reflection and growth as well. If you guys are around WPPI, my last 2 talks are today, but the first one is at 8:30. So my screen looks like it needs cleaning, huh? It's like a nice glowy filter. Okay, hold on, I'm gonna clean you guys. Why does it say paused? Okay. All right, good morning, you guys. How many of you guys are here at WPPI right now? If you guys are here, my last talk is happening in half an hour. So it's a race with the clock. I gotta pack and check out before the class because I have 2 classes back to back after this and I won't have time to come back to pack. So I actually have to check out now. So I have half an hour to, no, less than half an hour. I gotta get down there. So are you guys all ready? Will this all fit back in my luggage? This is not what I need right now. Okay. But having an 8:30 class, the last 8:30 in the morning class on the last day is like not cool because they had some big parties yesterday. So everyone is like probably hungover and sleeping in. So it's kind of a cruel time slot to have, don't you think? I might have to like just wear funny clothes based on what fits in the luggage. Like, you don't fit, I gotta wear you, and I gotta wear you. I guess worst case, what's easiest to hold? A pair of shoes or a jacket? There was one time to make everything fit, I had to take all of my clothes. Oh, actually, I might have to do that now. And I rolled them all up and stuck them in my shoes. And then that was one way to save space. But okay, if this doesn't buckle, does that mean it won't zip? Okay, at least I got everything hanging in. All right, let's see. Will this close? Will this close, you guys? Yeah, come on. What would be really bad is if I busted the luggage right before. Oh, I know. Is it gonna work? Is it gonna work? Can I get it in? How did I get it? Oh no, I got it all here because I wore the bigger clothes. But this time, for my talk, I'm not wearing the big sweatpants and oversized coat. Okay, worst case, it's not gonna fit. Come on. Do I get a prize?
Oh my God.
Okay, time to get ready. I'm gonna go get dressed and then I'm going to, I'll come back on live as I'm walking towards the trade show floor, towards my class, but I will see you guys soon. But yeah, it zipped. All right, I'll see you guys on in a little bit. I'm tired now, but we gotta get walking. Come on, elevators. We're on our way to the class if you guys are there. Let's go, let's go, let's go. We're on our way, you guys. Class starts in 7 minutes. That means I have to get mic'd up and AV set up. So I'm coming, you guys. I'm tired. My feet don't want to move. I'm the speaker. I'm ready because I'm late. Good morning, how are you? Thanks for waking up so early to be here. And I hope you guys are finding inspiring speakers, inspiring products, making really good relationships. But WPPI, what it's great for is finding mentors. That's where I found a lot of my mentors. Vendor relationships, because you actually get to see a person. This will become like your annual retreat where you guys see each other, and it's a good place to like reflect on where I was last year, what I was trying to learn last year, and where I am this year, right? So when you come back next year, like remember where you were in this place, where you wanted to go, and be proud of the journey that you've made, and then make new goals. But every time you come back here, like if you want to do what I do, like I use this as like my check-in point. And I think about like, oh, what have I achieved in this last year, right? Especially when you're seeing people in person annually, they tend to ask you like, what have you been up to? And so I was like, what have I been up to? Like, am I proud of what I've done this past year or not? And it's okay if you're not, you know, it's like, but it's a good place to reflect, right? And so I hope you will use WPPI as a space for you to hone in these relationships and use it as a space of reflection and growth as well. So with that said, community is super important to me, and WPPI is where I established my first relationships. How many of you guys are in your first year of business? How many of you are within your third year of business? 5 years? 10 years? Wow, we have like awesome, 20 years! Woo. 30 years! Oh. What? 42, 45? Who said 45? Dang, 45 years! Okay, it is not easy to stay in business that long, would you agree? Yes. Even like 42, 35, right? So statistically, I was researching online somewhere, so it's probably not, you know, statistics are probably not that accurate online, but it sounds believable. Only 2% make it past year 10. All of the people that I originally came to WPPI with, like, there's only like 2 people I could think of that are still in business. And every year, this was what inspired me to create my education. Because when I came, I had a group of friends and we would go play and it was fun. Every year we came, the group got smaller and smaller because people were falling out of business. Like they say 50% go out of business within the first year. And then like from that, like another, you know, percentage, and it just trails off really quick. So then a couple years go by, I made a new group of friends. Like, okay, cool. Then I had a new cohort to hang out with. And then that trickled down. That second group that I was part of, none of them are still in business. And it's really sad, you know, because as any of you have run a business before, running a business itself is already lonely, right? Because you are a solopreneur for the most part. You don't have a boss who checks in with you. That's where having a mentor really helps, by the way. But you know, you do feel like you're in an island most of the time. And so these communities become really important, and it's really sad when I see these communities going out of business. And what I notice is that all the people who went out of business, it was not because of lack of talent. That was not the reason at all. They were all talented photographers. We all went into this because we love photography. We have like a pretty creative eye and we enjoy creating art. Where most people fall out of business is because they realize they don't know how to build a business or sustain a business. I was talking to someone yesterday at one of the parties, and I can't remember who off the top of my head, but she was saying that she was consulting another photographer who was really struggling. And when she asked him, like, how long have you been working on becoming a photographer? You know, and they said like years, right? They like classes and all that. It's like, okay, well, how long have you been working on becoming a business owner? So I'm sure some of you might feel the same way. Like, we spent a lot more energy learning how to shoot than we learn how to run a business. And that's why a lot of photographers and creatives in general just don't stay in business very long, because they love the art and they suck at running the business. So that's kind of what inspired me to create that business bootcamp, because I want to see more of you guys around, because I'm tired of having to make new friends all the time. I love making new friends, but I don't want to lose friends. So what's the hardest part about running a business? Like, if you think about your own business right now, like, what are the things that like are most painstaking or annoying for you? Okay, so she's saying setting up systems, automating parts of your business. Accounting, yeah. Work-life balance. I was guilty of this too. Like, I left 9 to 5. My 9 to 5 was, it's not really 9 to 5, but it was more like 7 to 3, because I was a high school physics teacher. So I left my day job because I wanted more flexibility and to have more time, only to then find myself running a business that's occupying 24/7 of my time. And I was like, wait, now I can't even take vacations whenever I want, because now, and I can't go to any of my friends' birthday parties because I'm shooting weddings now, right? So I'm like, this is the opposite of why I started my own business, because now I find my life at the mercy of my business. What you're saying is very common to what other people are struggling with as well. Marketing, sales or pricing, post-production. Oh, no one mentioned post-production. Anyone struggling with post-production? Yeah, like, I remember that occupied so much of my time. I'm like, all right, getting clients or unsatisfied clients. Anyone had an unsatisfied clients before? That can be so demoralizing. Like several times has made me want to quit. But those are all opportunities for growth. Like, that's how I see it. It was a class that I took that taught me how to improve my business, taught by that client. I put together like a free business bootcamp because today I'm barely scratching the surface. So it's like a 3-part class that I had done, and I'm only going to be able to touch upon part 1 today. So if you want like more info, you can get into my business bootcamp. It's a free webinar that I have put together, but it'll also get you into my Facebook group as well. And in there, we can continue this talk, and I'm there to answer questions as well. So, your connection to me doesn't end the minute you walk out this door. So please stay in touch. But yeah, we're gonna talk about how to increase your booking. One thing to know about me and the way that I teach, there is no absolutes. I'm never gonna tell you this is the only way to do business. And that comes with maturity and the years that I've done this, and that I realize the right business is actually the one that fits your life best. And that is gonna look differently as your life evolves. So my business pre-kids looked very different than my business after having kids. And that might be the same for you. Like, if you're single versus if you're married, when you have kids, when you have little kids versus when you have older kids. These are all milestones in your life that is going to shape how you want to run your business. So don't feel like when you see someone doing one thing that you have to do it too. It's really about molding it to your life. And I'm a firm believer that you have to prioritize your own life first, your own needs, and you build your business around that first. So you set your, whether it's like, I need to see my family every weekend, I need to pick up my kids after school every day. And I'm saying things that like are true for me, right? And so then how can I make this business work within those parameters? As opposed to, let me build this business and then now let me see how much free time I have after. Like, I hear this a lot, specifically with working out, but I think it's applicable to business as well. Oh, I wish I was fit. I'm like, well, is it important to you? If it's important to you, then make time for it. If it's not important enough to make time, then give yourself grace. You don't have to be fit. Do you know what I mean? Like, and that's the same thing with business too. Oh my God, I should be running mini sessions because I see that person running mini sessions. Is it important to you? Or I should be shooting like maternity, like, is that important to you? Because it's not for everyone, right? Like, just because someone's doing it doesn't mean you have to do it too. So if anything, like, as you go through your business, you're gonna hit a lot of these moments, and I hope you will give yourself grace by reminding yourself, like, if it was not important enough to you anyway, just let it go, it's fine, right? But if it is important to you, let's make it happen. So one of the main things I want you to think about as you are working on your website or landing page is I want you to think about who you are speaking to. If you can have that avatar in mind already, is it like what age range are they in? Where do they live? What are their hobbies? What is their marital status? Like children, no children? As detailed as you can, but if you can think about like your ideal client, and if you have pen and paper, feel free to jot down some bullet points of who this person is that is your ideal client. If you know who you are talking to, it will make your copywriting so much easier. When you are building that website, how many of you have like struggled with an Instagram caption? Like, oh my God, I don't know what to write, right? Yeah, that's me too. And whenever that happens, it's always because I'm not sure who I'm talking to and why I'm talking to them. So I try to be very intentional with every Instagram post I put out there, and I always ask my why. Like, why am I putting this out there? Why am I posting this? And what I find is if it's just to show a pretty picture, it usually has very poor engagement because there's so many pretty pictures out there. So I have to really challenge myself on like, why? Who am I speaking to first? Is this to a mom? Is this to a bride? Is this to a business owner? Is this to other photographers? And why? Like, how am I gonna impact their life after they've seen this post? How am I going to inspire them or move them after this post? When you have that in mind, it will make writing copy for your website and Instagram captions a lot easier. One other thing you can think about is this person that you've dreamt up in your head, what are problems that they have? And when I mean problems, I mean like they have really cute kids that are growing up too fast and they can't seem to get cute enough photos that capture quite how cute their kids are. Or they have a wedding coming up that they really want to feel intimate. Or they have an elopement coming up. They need to be able to capture that intimate essence, right? So that's what I mean by like problems, and it looks very different. So for example, if you are targeting, say, elopement, it's gonna have a very different vibe than someone who is going for like these giant 1,000-people ballroom weddings, right? And so you wanna make sure that you're speaking to a very specific person, and when you know what their problems are, you can then write about that in your copy. And then what solution do you offer? How are you helping with that? Maybe their problem could also be that they're extremely camera shy and nervous in front of a camera. And you can solve that problem because you are very personable and you are comforting to them. If that's the case, you put that on your website. Maybe their problem is that their parents only speak, whatever, Spanish, Chinese, Korean, or whatever, and you happen to be bilingual, trilingual. If that's the case, put that on your website because that could be a selling point as well, right? I feel that we often forget to think about what their problems are, and we tend to only think about what we offer. I have albums. Does anyone want albums? I can do custom framing. Does anyone want custom framing? Right? When you do that, you approach it more like a salesperson, and everyone can sniff out sales and they don't like sales, right? But if you can approach it the other way instead, what are your problems? You have empty walls in your house and you don't know how to decorate it. Because anyone can relate to that, right? Like when I walk into styled homes, I'm like, oh, I love how they put up these pictures on the wall, but I don't know how to do it myself, right? So perhaps that's something you can offer them. But do you see how you started with the problem first, right? Don't leave your walls naked. I can help you dress it. So these are all things you should be including in your website. When you go home and redesign your website, I want you to be thinking about this. And these are the prompts that you should be asking. Are you addressing these issues? And I'm also addressing it in the order that a person is thinking. So take them down this path. So now that you've convinced them of their problem, now that you've convinced them of how you can help them, what do? Because that's like, all right, I love what you're saying. How do I book? And amazingly, there are so many websites that I see that it makes it so hard to book. So make it easy for them to book you. Make it easy for them to give you money. Take out those barriers to entry, right? Because otherwise, you're just putting up more opportunities for them to forget and move on. Anybody familiar with my mini sessions and how I do mini sessions? Okay, just to give you a quick summary about it, I started off as a destination wedding photographer, ended up having babies and realized that destination weddings was not gonna fit my lifestyle, because my kids will be in school one day and I can't just pull them out of school. I didn't want that lifestyle. I could, it wasn't what I wanted. And then the other reality that sunk in, like probably halfway through my career, was that my parents are aging. So just as fast as my kids are growing before my eyes, my parents are also aging on the other end, right? And so I want to be around and available more often. I want to be able to have dinners with them. I want to be at family functions more often. So I need to scale back on the weddings. At the time, there was 2 years where I was doing like 40, 45 weddings alone. And it was awesome because I did it with my husband. He was my second shooter. And it was fun because it was at the growth of my career. And I thought at the time, I defined success as being busy. And so every time like family would invite me to things, they'd be like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm booked. And they would be like, oh, like you're so cool. I'm like, I'm so cool. But I had this misconception in my head that you had to be busy to be successful. Anybody fall into that trap at times. And I think it's because of our culture. We have this like hustle mentality, right? And so eventually I realized I don't want to do that. That's not cool. It's not cool that I'm missing my cousin's wedding and my niece's birthday parties. Like I actually want to be with family, So I was like, I need to shift my business and change. So I scaled back on the weddings. I slowly cut down to like 24, then cut down to like, 18, and then 15. I find like the sweet spot is like 10 right now. I'm away I get holidays off, and it comes out to be about once a month, but sometimes twice a month during busy season, and then more quiet during the off season. But it's a good balance where I'm still able to be at most of my kids' soccer games and basketball games and such. Now, what happens to income though, right? Like I just chopped my wedding bookings in half, or a quarter, depending on where you're comparing it to. So what do? One, I was starting to raise my wedding prices because supply and demand. I have less dates available, so I should raise prices. Yes, I did that. But the other thing, I didn't want to just count on that too, because I'm very well aware that when you are cool for any given time, right? At any moment, I have a shelf life. Like the next generation of brides might not think I'm so cool anymore. So I need something else as well. I'm a big advocate for multiple streams of income and not putting all your eggs in one basket. That doesn't mean to spread yourself thinly though, because that is also what can happen, but it's mean building systems, having systems in place so that it self-runs itself. I'm gonna show you how I have done that for portrait business. Because when I decided that I needed to supplement my wedding income with portraits, that's when I really invested in building up a portrait business. And there's 2 things that were really successful. So I make 3 times more on portraits than I do with weddings. And my wedding packages are not cheap, like it's around like $15,000 a wedding. But yet I still make more total with portraits, like 3 times more in portraits than I do with weddings. And what I realized is most of the income actually comes from either mini sessions or baby's first year packages. At the time, I was offering portrait sessions, and they were not cheap. They were like around $1,000 for portrait sessions. But at that time, it was like to wherever in LA was $1,000, right? Now, if I had to drive 30 minutes, it was $1,000. And if it was in my backyard, it's $1,000. So when my kids started to go to school, it started to get really hard to time it with drop off and pick up. And then if I had to drive half an hour there, I couldn't necessarily schedule another shoot there because I just can't predict traffic. And so it really limited me on how many shoots I can do a day, because I could do 2 at best, 1 in the morning, 1 in the afternoon, to make sure that I wasn't gonna be late for it, right? So I thought, what if I started to localize my bookings more? What if I forced them to come to my studio? So up until the pandemic, I had a studio, a gorgeous studio. During the pandemic, I closed the studio and I moved it into my home studio, which is a small space. It's like 10 by 13. It's probably just the width of this, and then maybe like Yeah, it's probably just this little rectangle right here. So it's not a huge space, but I make it work. And it's nothing compared to my old studio. But what I did, and this is my advice to you on how to raise prices without raising prices. This is also how to draw boundaries with work. So I will not raise my prices if you come to me. So it will still be $1,000 if you come to me and shoot in my little studio. But if you want me to come to you, no problem, it's double the price, right? Because you're still giving them options, but you're also drawing your boundaries. So if it's important enough to you, and you'll see I say that a lot because I say it to myself a lot too. If it's important enough to you, you will make it work. So, and I'm giving you options how to make it work. Come to my studio or pay double, right? And if you don't value me enough, that's okay. Like there's another photographer out there who will be the right fit for you. But if you come to me, I will really take care of you. And we will have a very meaningful relationship. And I will give you my all. But for me to protect that energy that I have to put up boundaries. Because if I just give it to everyone, I'm gonna run out of that energy, right? So it's really about, and that's what I mean by the core foundation of your business needs to be your own needs. Because if you deplete yourself, you are no good for anybody else. So protect your own energy, protect your own space and your time, and then build everything else around it. So that said, weekends are off limits for portrait sessions, unless you want to pay wedding rates. So when holidays started to come around, what I realized was that I was seeing a lot of past brides and family members send me Christmas cards with other photographers. And I was like, oh, this kind of sucks because I could have done that for you. But when I think about it, it also does not make any sense for them to pay for an hour photo session, right? Because the $1,000 is for the sitting fee, and then you have, the files and products and all that after, right? So I was like, I can see why someone doesn't want to pay, probably at the end of the day, like $1,800 for a holiday card photo. However, I also see local photographers charging like $125 for these mini sessions. So at the same time, I don't want to devalue my work in offering that. So what is a middle ground that I can offer here? So I started doing these marathon days, and these would be the only time you can get in on a weekend with me at a reasonable rate. And I booked 3 in an hour. So they're booked every 20 minutes apart. They're 15-minute sessions, booked 20 minutes apart. And I have stamina. I didn't realize how cruel it was until I started bringing on assistants, but I used to do this solo. I used to do this just all by myself. I would do 10-hour days, 3 an hour, and I would just go 30 per day, and I would do 2, like Saturday and Sunday, and we'd have 60 sessions finished within one weekend. But you think, right, 60 sessions in one weekend. If I had to, let me ask you this, how many sessions can you do currently comfortably in a day? Like just 1, I see 3, 2, 2, 3, okay. So even if you did 3 a day, you had, think about it, 60 people are ready to give you money. They want their photos before holidays though. So if you can only do 3 a day, it's gonna take you 20 days, working 20 days straight to service them. And that's not gonna give you any time to do anything else in your life now, right? Because you have just devoted your entire November to getting these people their pictures before Thanksgiving, right? So for me, I was like, how can I make this more efficient? So when I consolidated it all into one weekend like that, it was awesome because I was able to get them all their pictures, it's done, and then I get to go enjoy time with my family. I take Thanksgiving to New Year's off.
But how would you price them? Because my sitting fee is $2,000, and then if I do something mini, that would be huge gap, and you have to make it less.
So just to give you perspective, my mini sessions are actually more expensive than regular sessions because it's only 15 minutes. So that's the difference. Let's say she's saying it's $2,000 for a 1-hour session, right? If you do just a straight math, that would mean that a half-hour session should be $1,000, a mini session should be $500, right? But I would charge like say $750 for the mini session. So if you do $750 times 4, right, then you're actually making more per hour than you did previously. So to them, they're paying less because they don't have to pay you $2,000 anymore. So you have to play with the pricing in that way, but they're paying less, but they get less as well, right? So that it's a win-win situation, right? They're able to get me for cheaper than my normal sitting fee, but I'm actually making more in the end of going through this effort for them. Since it works so well, can I apply this model? So my mini sessions, like they book, it's self-checkout. They come in, there's a calendar, shows them the availability, they book, they pay, and I just see them populate in my calendar. So I thought, this is so efficient. Can I make this work for other aspects of my business? Does it only work for mini sessions? And I tried it first last year during the busy holiday season, and it was phenomenal. So what I did was, I looked at my calendar, and a lot of this is because I realized how little free time I actually have. So I said, okay, great. This is the day that I'm willing to go out to the beach. So let me put some time slots available, and these are gonna be beach days. If you want a family beach day, this is the only day available. If you want to shoot in Joshua Tree, this is the one day. And usually it's because I already had one other client booking that day. If you want to go in my studio, these are the days available. And if you want to go to the woods, then these are the days available. So now when they inquire about family sessions, pick your location, these are the available dates. If you like it, self-checkout. And if they need to schedule a call, obviously they can, right? So I'm not putting a block there, but there's also plenty of people who are ready to just pay. They want to give you money, they want to book you already. So why make it so difficult? Okay, so my other really popular thing is baby's first year. And that's where I sell these packages where I document from maternity, newborn, 6 months to 1 year. And sometimes 100 days too, depending. So they're booking 4 to 5 sessions for each pregnancy. And it's great because it's so efficient. Right when they're pregnant or inquiring about a newborn, I already got them to commit to all these sessions. And then I was like, how can I even further streamline this? I'm gonna further streamline this by encouraging them to come to my studio. So I have specific packages for this, and this is only valid if you come to my studio. If you want me to come to your house, I charge double. I used to think like, oh, like that's fine, I could go there, but it's just so unpredictable when I go to someone's house. Furniture, lighting, clutter, right? And then I find that like sometimes I'm spending like an extra half hour just rearranging furniture. Or worse is that I can't live up to expectations because I come to their house and their house is a dark cave, right? Or they have black walls. And I was like, I can't give you the look that you know me for because your walls are black, right? So I just found that if I can keep it consistent, it just makes expectations a lot more manageable, and I know that they'll be happy with it. So I thought, what if I could make something super streamlined? So I created a brand new website and a brand new brand. Have you seen this brand? So it was an idea that I had, that I knew I wanted a baby brand. I already had the business model in my head. I needed a perfect name for it, and it just kind of came to me in the middle of my sleep. And then I was like, is it gonna be so cheesy if I go carrot? Like, I pronounce it carrot, but I was like, I know everyone's gonna call it carrot. Like, do I just embrace it? I was like, I'm gonna embrace the carrot. So, I'm not offended if you call it carrot. But, so I thought, what if I was able to now really niche this product? Because baby's first year for the past several years have been the bread and butter of my business. How many of you have found yourself saying, I don't have time to work out? I don't have, okay. There was a delay there. Admit it. We've all been there at some point. Okay. I don't have time to, like a friend says, hey, do you have time for lunch? It's like, I don't have time for lunch. I am a firm believer now that there's no such thing as I don't have time. It means you are not important enough. It's true. If anybody tells you I don't have time, it means you're not important enough. If scheduling a meeting with the client was important, why isn't scheduling time for yourself important enough, right? And so what I realized is that you have to put it into your calendar to make it happen. And then, so I didn't do that before. So nowadays, I tell them when I'm available. If they want to schedule a meeting with me or schedule a shoot with me, I tell them my available dates. I used to wait for them to give me their dates. Do you see the difference? So I used to be like, yeah, let's hop on a call. What's good for you? They give me a time and I put that in. And then now I revolve the rest of my day around that. So I have Pilates, I have strength training, sometimes I dance, sometimes I do tennis. like a mixture. So it's a mixture of those activities are like my regular. So I have friends who are like, how do you get work done? I'm like, I guess I actually don't work most of the time, but that's because I have systems set up. So I don't have to work as hard, right? So what I was showing you is this. I created this so that I could reduce the number of back and forths that I have to do with people. Because the less time I am spending going back and forth with them, the more time I get to go dance or, Pilates or lift some weight. So if you notice from the get-go, would you like pricing? If you like pricing, submit your email there. That's done very intentionally because I love email marketing. Let me give you an example. Let's say that you have someone who's pregnant and is interested in a maternity session. They're looking at a bunch of photographers right now, and you had your pricing on the website, right? So they look past your, oh, this is cool, okay, oh, pricing looks good, okay. And then they start going, they get sidetracked, they go open up a couple other. Then they're not ready to book yet because they're barely researching. So then now, a month goes by and they're like, oh my gosh, I really need to book someone. Who was that site that I went to again? I saw that one website that I really like and I can't remember who it was, right? That can happen. They start searching, they end up on a competitor site instead. Oh, this looks close enough, okay. So I like having that email because I can then keep in contact with them after. So we do like a check-in after, like a week later, like, hey, did you get our pricing okay? Like, is there anything we can help you with? Would you like to schedule a call? And then again, a follow-up, again, we send up a text, hey, we sent you an email, did you get our email? So that's why I'm a big proponent for email. So in order to get my pricing, they have to send an email first. If they want to schedule a call, they have the option to schedule a call with my studio manager. There's no email back and forth. It goes directly to a Calendly calendar. Then they just pick a time and date. And then I taught her to do the same thing. It's like prioritize your own needs. Her kids have swim meets and she has a ton of like shuttling around. So I was like, put your availability. My only ask is that it's X amount of hours a day, but you can schedule that whenever you want. So put that in and then they schedule meetings. So when she starts her day, she comes in and just see who has scheduled meetings. Then she just hops on the call with them. So it makes it very streamlined, minimizing the back and forth of the inquiries. Because if you get, like 10 inquiries a day and you have to spend 5 minutes each, that's already almost an hour of your day just on initial inquiries, right? That's not even on like the further down the line in emails. And you know what I mean by further down, like when they're closer to booking the invoicing, right? So you should be spending more of your energy on like, as they come further down the funnel. When they're still at the top of the funnel, ideally you don't want to be so hands-on with them yet. Automate a lot of that. Yeah, so if you notice right at the bottom, want to learn more? Submit for pricing. And it's automatic. So what happens, let me show you the next page. So the minute, and you guys can try it out yourself too, but the minute that they fill, you already did. So the minute you submit your email address, it automatically forwards you over to this site here, which is pricing. So it's still easily accessible without me having to personally send it, but I still require them to give me their email address first, because that way I am able to follow up with them after. But otherwise, if you are ready to book, I have bundled packages. So 4 sessions, 3 sessions, 2 sessions, and pricing is already listed there. If you want a single session, I also have single sessions available, newborn sessions, and then basically every other session. Because the newborn sessions are the only ones that require 2 hours. Everything else are 1 hour sessions. And then the baby's first year book, these are like the a la carte pricing, print your photos, add a video, client testimonials, and then schedule a call if you still want more info, right? So let's say that they like what they see here and now they want to book a bundle. So when they click on book a bundle, it then takes them to an online scheduler. So again, they have not need to talk to me yet. If I have given them enough information, and especially if it was a referral, so a lot of times these sessions will just pop up in my calendar and they self-checked out. No one had to talk to them at all. So they already, have a trusted friend referring them. They came to the site, it's consistent with what they saw. They now come here. This one's 17 hats, yeah. So they like what they see and it's like, oh, awesome, okay, these are the 3 packages available. So they click on this and then it takes them to the booking page. So once they come to the booking page, they can see available times right away.
This video was made possible by 17 Hats. In this talk, I'm going to show you how I use 17 Hats online scheduler to automate my booking process and run an efficient business. 17 Hats online scheduler has allowed my clients to work around my availability while minimizing the back and forth emails and calls. I also use online scheduler to book up to 75 mini sessions in one weekend by allowing clients to self-checkout. 17 Hats has saved me so much time and it can do that for you as well.
So how to book is very important. That's why I was showing you through the 17 Hats how I set up that system. And when I cut this for YouTube, you can insert that part in it now where I talk about where I share the booking page, the pricing page. So how do you book? I make it very easy. On that pricing page itself, you'll see that the pricing page already has schedule a shoot, right? Book a shoot. So make it very easy. The call to action is constantly there and it's consistent. But there's 3 main ways. You give them options. They can fill out a contact form, they can do book now, or they can schedule a call. So that way, depending on where they are and what they're comfortable with, they have options. Ideally, I would like them to do book now, but I know not everyone is ready right away. And if they're not, they can do contact me, contact form or call, and it's still automated. It still doesn't have to do the back and forth part. For your most frequently booked shoots, automated. So for anything that you find that you are booking lots of, it's a good time to try to figure out how can I set it up in 17 Hats online scheduler or whatever equivalent you use, right? But I have loved setting it up in 17 Hats. So during holiday sessions, like I told you, this is my Joshua Tree day, right? So then I made an online scheduler just for Joshua Tree. I made an online scheduler just for Malibu sessions. I made an online scheduler just for the Woodsy Park. And so what that allows me to do is anytime I'm ready to market those, I just pull up new dates and then I just send out that link to people. And if my assistant is emailing people back and forth and they say they want Joshua Tree, she has that link available to send them. And there's no more of like what days are you available? It's just here's my availability. So pick a time and date on this list. And if they need a custom date, then it's double the price. So from mini sessions I took the concept of my mini sessions because I was using online scheduler for a long time now for my mini sessions. I was like, why can't it work for my family sessions? And that's basically how I got it to work for this. So slowly, if you start to think about what are your most booked packages and you start to approach it in this way, you can start to make the bookings very automated. So I have also done this for branding photos since, because branding photos is essentially like a 30-minute or 1-hour session. So there's no reason why I shouldn't be able to automate it as well. We have different calendars. One is Caroline in studio, one is Caroline on location. And then we have the calendars cross-reference different things, and we have Caroline meetings. And then actually another one is Caroline family. When you're looking for my availability, that's what it's cross-referencing. So if you notice, one of it is Caroline family, right? That's time that I'm gonna be with my kids, so no, it's not available. And you have to block that out for yourself or your life is gonna get taken over by your business and you will burn out. So these are all tips for how to stay in business for a very long time. If you're not familiar with 17 Hats yet, this code will get you 50% off 17 Hats. And I've been using it for many years. It will take care of all your invoicing and contracts too. So from the moment they say, okay, I want a studio session on Tuesday at 1 p.m., they enter their credit card info and they automatically get the invoice, the contract to digitally sign, they check out and it's done. They just pop up in your calendar, like you have a shoot scheduled Tuesday at 1 p.m. The one that you saw me build earlier with the book now with the 3 packages, that one was all built in 17 Hats. So every one of my commonly booked packages have been turned into something like that. Did you guys have fun? Yay! Hold on, before the class is over, I want to take a quick selfie before you guys all like take off. But yeah, feel free to fill up the aisle too. Yay! Okay, let me see if it actually, these are always like, did I actually make it in? Oh, how fun! Okay, and then there's like one more thing I wanted to do before I continue. There's a camera, and then I'm gonna go really, really, really fast, and then I'm gonna slow it down so we see you guys. Yeah! Okay. Woo! Okay.
A little bit of a fear that then nobody will look, but the way you did it, it's like, oh, I want that, and I want that, and I want that, you know? Like,
Yeah, like, well, how could you not? Yeah, but
Nice.
definitely do my business boot camp because that'll at least give you the foundations you need to be able to start making money with your passion.
Yes.
Yeah.
Awesome. Can you take us out?
Of course.
When I saw that you were on the schedule, I was like, oh my God, Caroline Tran, I have to go see her.
Yay,
So,
I'm glad you're here.
Would you be okay if we do a selfie together?
Of course. So nice to meet you too. Please keep in touch. Every business is a little bit different, so yeah.
Yeah.
But
okay.
yeah, keep in touch and like let me know if you need like.
I'm gonna take your course, do all the things.
Yeah,
so.
do this first and you'll see. And then if you want, like I do offer one-on-one consultations as well, where I can sit down and help you figure out what is right for you. Exactly. Yeah.
Perfect. I want to rebrand and do all kinds of things.
Yes. Oh, hi. Thanks for coming. Thanks for waking up for this.
Oh, of course. I'm a morning person, so it's,
Oh, perfect.
It's okay. But oh my gosh, I'm having such a blast here. It's such an eye-opener and just meeting with so many people. It's one of those.
Oh my gosh.
So like that.
Oh. Oh.
Thank you so much.
You were at my session? Oh, thank you. Oh.
Really nice.
Well, I'm honored you were there, and I'm excited to now be talking to you here. Your turn to talk to me.
We are doing interviews with influential photographers, just sending them out to our audience, and we would love to interview you. And so
Sure.
this has my card in it.
Okay.
It has a gift, like goodies and snacks
Aw,
and stuff.
thank you.
So I will be in touch with you after the conference. My name is Jacqueline.
Nice to
And
meet you,
then,
Jacqueline.
Our CEO, Garrett, would be the one doing the interview. And basically,
Awesome.
we're just looking for influencers in the community to show our photographers who's doing what and how they're doing it great. So
Oh, thank you. Yeah, we'll be in touch.
This is effing Caroline Tran, live and in person.
Like if I could sit, that would be awesome. Having weddings edited by the time I got home from the wedding. Could you imagine that? Your guests will have access to these photos right away. They can download it, put it up on Instagram immediately.